Spill coffee, there's your dad now.
Okay, you're not going to rope me into the Wakao, guys. I'm the intern for Brian and Jason.
Well, so you're not going to say Happy Halloween, right? So
I mean, I feel like I've said it a whole bunch. I'm not going to say, like, Happy Halloween. But now you're going to just cut it apart and say, and you're going to take that thing that I just said in jest.
Will you say...
God bless it.
will you say...
You're going to splice this together and make it look like I said, I killed a guy.
Well, you heard it here first.
That's perfect. And cut.
Previously on Riders of the Apocalypse.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's, there's good stuff in there. Okay, so I was more affected by, there were times, like I said, where when I was watching this film, I almost was having trouble processing what I was seeing because it was just the right kind of overkill. It was intentionally sensory.
That's great to hear.
Like sensory attacks. So this is what's important to me about watching a movie like this, is whether or not they can do that for me.
Awesome.
And that has put me in that different place where it's like, this is terrible. Like, I'm now in a state of tense. Like, I almost feel like an anger towards, the perpetrator and this kind of stuff. When I'm getting there, then that means that I'm in a good experience. That's working.
Absolutely.
And so Tobe Hooper accomplished that with this film.
That's amazing.
So I had a lot of fun watching it.
That's a huge... Okay, for those listening... At least Cassidy's here listening at our feet. Cassidy, what Brian's saying, that's coming straight from the heart. No, I love that you... That is... For those listening and not familiar with us, that is the biggest compliment Brian's ever given to a movie we've watched so far here on Riders of the Apocalypse. And we're back.
Mr. Jason, how are you?
Yeah, man, I'm great. Brian, how are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking.
Dude, it finally is awesome outside, right?
Yes.
It feels crisp. It's October. It's October, really 19th for us. You guys are hearing it maybe a week after that.
Right.
But I think that we're going to have a lot of extra content, so because we're just all excited.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing. For the last 2 weeks, on Monday morning, we've released... 4 total pieces of content.
Yeah.
And we're having 2 more come out this Monday. You're listening to part of it now. The other is the film commentary for...
Pieces.
That's right.
1983. We're going to use so it was released in, I guess, 82 in Spain. It's a Spanish film, really.
Right.
And it was released in the U.S. a year later. So end of September... 1983.
Yeah. So if you think about 1983, you're talking about Every Breath You Take by the Police. Too Shy by Kaja Gugu. Ladies and gentlemen, Too Shy. They've got big hair and they're gonna bounce in that bass. Too Shy.
Did you
Kaja Gugu?
Did you follow Too Shy? Or did you celebrate that catalog?
Listen, let me tell you. Anybody that's got a problem with Kaja Gugu doesn't understand production in the 80s.
I haven't missed a show. Wait, aren't they all? No.
Mr. Roboto by Styx and Maniac by Michael Sembello.
What? So you're reading? Are you reading like the hits of that year?
Or off the top of my dome, baby.
Nice.
I'm kidding. No, you're
like an encyclopodium. Wait, how do you say that word?
A musical. So just
you're
in
like
keeping with
Dick Shanary, right?
Oh,
okay.
Did the rest of you hear that? Because I could have sworn.
No.
Well,
even Cassidy's snoring now.
Okay, so I guess I know where
October,
I stand. That's
fine. And now you're mad.
And now you're mad. Happy October, everybody.
Happy October, yes.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be back, man. When we were gearing up to... Let's just talk about like kind of what's going on with the show right now.
Please.
When we've been gearing up for this past week, like, okay, Saturday sounded good, man. We'll be able to figure out schedule and stuff like that. It was like, all right, there's something going on for the weekend for sure that's worthwhile and awesome because we've been creating some pretty good content. We've got a few episodes out now. We just went past the 10 mark about 2 weeks ago. So we're still new and we're just working
But it's
on
exciting.
it. And it's exciting
To
and
pass
fun.
the 10, I can't believe we've already released 10 episodes. That's
Yeah.
seriously, I didn't think
Isn't that
it would
great?
last that long.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, I'm just.
I didn't think. I thought
love
we'd
it.
kill each other.
I just think that I know that everyone this movie stuff can be torture.
Yes. So we
I
should
really
celebrate
appreciate
exactly
you, Brian, for
Yeah.
and also everybody there in the back, Jesse,
Guys, yeah, the audience
Amazing.
of one, fantastic.
the audience, Cassidy, everybody. Thank you.
Plants, thank you.
But we did watch Pieces. This is part 2 of our chainsaw, Jay's favorite chainsaw movies.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to do 2. We'll do an extensive list maybe that we put out or something where
Right.
I kind of I don't rank these movies honestly in number 1 down or whatever.
Yes.
They're because a lot of them are equal. Like you'll have equal entertainment watching this one night and watching another one this night. But
Right.
what we watched Pieces.
Yeah.
The part 2 of our chainsaw special from Texas Chainsaw 2, which we did
Yes.
last week.
By the way, that was landmark content. I must say, it was fun watching the movie. We had a great podcast.
That
People
movie's
have
hard
commented
to
on that
beat
episode.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has anybody commented to you about the episode at all? Let's
Oh
listen
yeah.
to it.
Well, my wife,
General?
my wife, I forced her to listen to these. Unfortunately, God bless her, but she at least tells me when something's completely unacceptable.
Right.
And no, she thought this is great.
That's fantastic.
So I was like, wow, and she's a hard sell.
Sure. That's
So,
good.
but we're doing Pieces this evening, and of course we did the commentary. Pieces starts for me on a dark and stormy night. No, Brian just distracted me. I think
I didn't mean to distract you. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't reading off the Wikipedia.
Absolutely not.
Because I'll do it.
That's right.
We'll both do it.
Pieces started, if you don't mind, Pieces started for me. So 1983, I would be 9, I guess, 8 or 9. So I saw this poster for Pieces when 9 years old. It was all over the movie theater, the local movie theater that most of us went to. There was there was 3 or 4 movie theaters, but we went to this one that was kind of up
Right.
on a hill, and it's separate from the mall and everything. So anyways, I just remember seeing that poster, and it's the chainsaws there, and there's like a body part hanging out of I don't have it in front of me, but it's an
Right.
amazing poster. And it was the midnight movie at the theater, the local theater, for what seemed like a few years. I could be totally wrong, but they did not take that poster. It was one poster that stayed up of Pieces. And you would think that, like, nowadays, I don't know if you'd get away with a poster like that with all these kids coming in with their families, and then there's Pieces.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
tagline on that poster says, it's just so awesome. This is exactly what you think it is.
Right.
And it is exactly what you think it is. This fucking Chainsaw Massacre movie that's very low budget with a lot of bright red paint, blood, and
Yeah.
a lot of good gore effects.
Right.
And some, the pacing at least goes along to where by the time the movie ends, you're like, oh, that wasn't that long. Like I didn't want to turn it off. I've watched this, of course, multiple times, but yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
multiple times.
I enjoyed it once again, and we watched the pristine
Yeah.
Grindhouse Releasings
Right.
edition, which
It was
is
a good looking transfer for
Yeah.
sure. It's
Yeah.
like it's just like we were talking about last time, where even though it was really clear and it looked good, the original kind of grain of the film was still kind of present. It wasn't dried out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was.
So do you think
it
that
looks
it
as
would've
though
been-
it looks as it was captured. Whether or not you would ultimately consume it that way is different because everybody's TVs were different, VCRs were good or bad. Some
Right.
home theater or some hometown theaters weren't that great. They just had
So do you
shitty
think that-
projectors or something.
Do you think that what we saw earlier, do you think that was that too cleaned up? Like if you were in the theater in 1983,
Right.
and the film was up there, what would the film look?
Maybe
less,
yeah.
less.
It might, depending on there might be a kind of a quality to it. That's,
Okay.
It just
Interesting.
there's times where it almost didn't look like the kind of film that I think that they thought it was supposed to be. It's just my dumb observation. I'm clearly not the filmmakers.
No, but what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the way it's shot, I mean, it's very much shot like a lot of, we've said this about a few things before. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's not so great. This was shot almost super tight shots. Like the camera's literally just in a room, in a corner, and go.
That's right.
And it was shot very much like kind of a TV movie of the week kind of thing. However, there were gore parts in it. I'm not saying that that's what it was.
Yeah.
And so there were times that took me out of it, along with the kind of the procedural stuff that took a while. It was kind of a spiritual cousin to Blue Sunshine in a way.
Okay. Now we're really, folks, listen up, because I can't wait to hear where this is going. Because if you haven't listened to the Blue Sunshine episode, then maybe
Please
give that a listen. Yeah. And thanks for listening now. But Brian, please keep diving deep on that. I want to hear this.
That's about, it may go about as deep as that.
Okay.
In that there are just kind of, they're kind of tightly shot, very kind of TV looking, TV movie of the week, late 70s. Economical, let's go.
It's like some scenes are like a daytime soap, because I guess it just looks like a set or something. But
filling time with establishing shots of them walking upstairs,
I'm going
casually
to go
approach
to
doors.
This door now, and I'm going to open the door. Yeah. But what I think is okay with it is that there's at least they've spread the kills out. In a manner where it's not all at the end and it's not all at the beginning, it's not all in the middle. You're there and up until the last scene where the guy, the unfortunate gentleman who was doing so well with the ladies thus far, will not be doing so well after he got clawed in the balls.
Right, we're now talking about the end of the movie.
That's right.
Sure.
We're starting at the end.
But it's you're mentioning this for a reason. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about those kind of details, just like that one.
You can't make me take a break. I'm on a roll. No, let's take a break, and we will be right back after these few messages. Hi, folks. I'm Michael Caine. You may know me from Jaws: The Revenge. Now, have I seen that film? Of course not. But I've seen the house it built, and it's spectacular. Just like these gentlemen at Riders of the Apocalypse. So show your support, like, thumbs up, hashtag, and ride with us. I'll be in back, sipping on a cognac. So please, join us. An alternate universe awaits. I'm starting at the end. I like to start at the end on this.
Okay, so this is Jason's take on Pieces. This is what he wants to say about Pieces. He's gonna spend the next few minutes, and then I'm gonna spend the next few minutes.
I hope you got like a couple days, because lay back, relax. Here I go. Pieces, 19.
You just got
Jason. No, so apparently the budget was $300,000. They made a couple mil. No big deal. Look, every time I watch Pieces, which is probably like on average once every 10 years. And
okay, all right. That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
That's healthy.
My wife, she'd probably tell you that we watch it like 3 times a year. I don't think so.
Maybe not so healthy.
Not so healthy. But it's a fun movie. The pacing is decent, and man, some of the chainsaw scenes just never been done. It's very ballsy. So I like they went like full bore. I mean, and by 83, you're creeping up on the time where the dark ages where everything was edited down pretty hardcore.
Okay.
But Pieces it was the midnight movie, and the poster was up for every 9-year-old boy to see.
Right.
And it was up for like 2 years. I swear that the midnight movie at this local theater was playing Pieces for, I swear it had been a year or two.
Wow.
Because it just stood out in my mind. I was like, I can't wait till I'm 17 because I'm going to go see Pieces. And then I turned 17 and they were like, Pieces? That's from 1983.
What the hell? We don't have that kid. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Scram.
Go join the army or something.
But Pieces, I still love it. Anyways, chainsaw movie that actually, Juan Pierre Simone, hopefully I'm saying that right. Man, I hope I'm saying it right because I like the director. But man, he is proud of this movie for one of the simple facts that he did a chainsaw effect through a cow or a pig carcass, and it literally looks like he's sawing a woman in half.
Right.
Like, it is so brutal. And anyways, there's just some magic tricks, so to speak, in there in that movie that keep you going with it. And it's terrible acting. I mean, Christopher George, one of our favorites.
Right. He's in such
multiple movies.
He's a luminary of movies such as this, who was also in.
I think he just did everything when they asked him, but he's in Grizzly and Day of the Animals. Right. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, love the guy, but he acts, I don't know if so him and his wife were in this movie. I think they were married at the time, but Linda Day. Okay. And thank you, Jesse. And Christopher George. So I guess they were married at the time. And it was almost like, so we'll just take a vacation in Spain.
Yeah.
And shoot this ridiculously bad movie and get paid for vacationing in Spain.
Fuck it.
And it's like, I think that's what they did.
Was this their, was the movie to them, was that Ned Beatty's, association to like Rolling Thunder?
Was
that their Rolling Thunder?
I hope, like, you know what I mean? I hope,
like,
yeah, just like
they're
Ned
giving
was
us $1 million.
Ned was telling his wife to book Barbados trip because
they will
of the
get
movie.
both of us for $1 million.
Well,
and
now
we're done
with that kind of same thing.
We're out of this life.
Me and Jesse did just watch Jaws: The Revenge, aka Jaws 4.
Holy shit!
Because we went to the Bahamas. We had a blast, and it's ridiculous that we got to go there. We lucked into this trip. So we went to the Bahamas and we went and saw where Jaws 4 was shot.
Wow.
And it's called Jaws Beach.
Tell us about that, please.
Anyways, I forced her to watch Jaws 4 after we got back because I couldn't find it anywhere. Okay. We watched it when we got back. And it is just, it's something else. But anyways, that's a whole different. I don't even know why I went down that road. Does anybody know why I did that? Okay. So Jaws 4 was cut in a couple of different ways, but anyways, man, I have derailed. We'll take a break and we'll hear from our sponsor.
Hey guys, Dennis Miller here. Just watching Pieces with these fellas from Riders of the Apocalypse. Pieces, huh? J.P. Simone directed this vehicle for artistic enlightenment. This guy makes Adrian Zapruder look like Fellini, babe. Back to the show.
Here's the deal. It makes the top of my list, Brian, for chainsaw movies because it's still fun to watch. It's got some decent pacing, and honestly, it is very revolutionary in the fact that this is one of the first, I think, fairly mainstream. I mean, it got movie theater play that had chainsaw violence in it that was really graphic, much more so than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the fact that they were like just ripping off Texas Chainsaw, like they were just like, let's make a film and make a bunch of money on these people that just want to see another chainsaw so. And it was actually, you can tell it was actually a giallo, like an Italian style slasher. That's why you had that's a very soap opera-y esque looking thing. So
okay, please
it's
explain
a giallo,
that aspect to me, because that was one of the biggest questions I had.
That's right. So it's kind of a traditional giallo in the fact that, like, Italian giallos, I don't know a whole lot about them just because I'm not a super fan, but I love Dario Argento and all those guys. Lucio Fulci. These Italian directors, some of them did gore, but some of them also did just straight gallows, which is just a very dramatic, broadly wide shot slasher film. And it was like before slashers, before the 80s, before Friday the 13th style slasher, the American slasher. You had these gallows. So and Pieces is definitely like a gallows movie mixed with like trying to throw in this American chainsaw aspect to it. And anyways, and honestly, it's fucking fun. I think it blows by in an hour and a half. And
it's okay. So thank you for sharing that with me, because I now know that you're watching this film through a prism that involves knowledge of kind of categories, especially of like European horror cinema. Yeah. Italian and Spanish, in which case this is Spanish in origin, correct? Is that true?
That's right. Okay. But it's very similar. It has a very Italian feel.
It absolutely does. So thanks for explaining. You said gallo.
Yeah, gallo.
Okay.
Right.
Define gallo in this context.
And honestly, I'm not a super fan of gallo, but I just know that gallo is an Italian slasher, like almost like a cop who done it. It's a who done it. Okay. It's usually gory, more gory than normal, and it's just shot in a fairly dark way, I think, and it's just a gallo. And again, I'm not an expert, but Pieces is clearly a gallo, which is almost soap opera-y.
Okay,
mixed with
that explains a lot.
Mixed with like glamorized like gore shots.
Yes.
Really, is all it is. Yep, that's what makes it look silly at the same time, kind of entertaining.
Yeah, and please talk about that point where you're like, "Hey, what?" There's a point in this movie that's almost as shocking as getting cut apart with a chainsaw, and that is when the professor of Kung Fu shows up.
Confusing.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a Kung Fu fight scene in this movie, and there's one
and he was
fighter.
Scared of her, apparently. He's the Kung Fu teacher.
This dude threw katas at this tennis player chick that was there.
She's just walking home or something.
He
jumps out of nowhere and horrifies her. And then tries to defend himself. Thankfully, she kicks him in the balls, knocks him unconscious.
That you got to get kicked in the balls hard.
He deserved it
to get knocked unconscious.
Why did he jump out of the bushes and do karate on her?
Yeah, he started doing katas on her like she was an instructor.
And he was like, "And now Form 1, Taeguk Ilchong."
Beautiful. So that was inappropriate and inexplicable.
So that was just like the producer or somebody was like, "All right, I got this guy. I like him. He's a Bruce Lee kind of imitator guy. Mind if I throw him in the scene?" And the Bruce Lee's guys, "I'll take it, boss."
How much? Okay, great. I'm there.
God, I have got a tickle.
Sounds like George Takei. Okay, Captain.
In my throat. What if a skeleton, it's Halloween, you're talking to a skeleton.
Okay.
What if a skeleton was like, "I'm sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat"?
I'd be like, "Get out of here, you."
That's a cobweb. And you just kind of brush it away.
He's fun.
And he's like, "Thank you."
By the way, the afterlife is real.
And then he just leaves. Talk to you later. And you're like, no, wait.
We got to get back.
And he just kind of disappears into...
Honka honka.
The ether, is that right?
Okay, so here's what I want to talk about when I talk about this is what we talk about when we talk about Pieces.
Thank you.
This is the self-help novel I'm going to write.
Oh my goodness!
And it is about one thing.
Okay.
And it
so
is
excited.
The murder scene of the reporter on the waterbed. What in the motherfuck?
And they were talking about the waterbed early on. It's like, why all this waterbed conversation?
Why are we talking about a waterbed right now? Well, you see waterbed later.
You see why.
And look, I'll just leave it to you to watch. But for the most part, there's a murder that takes place. A female reporter gets murdered on a waterbed. And there's parts of it that are shot in slow motion. It is one of the creepiest, this is fucking horrifying and violent. The entire, my theory, here's my fan
it does look
theory.
Very violent.
Here's my fan theory.
Okay.
I think the entire movie is an envelope that delivers that scene.
Oh, really?
Good night, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Brian.
Good night.
I hate to lose him, but he has literally walked. He's now a quarter of a mile down the road, and he's flapping his arms. He's cawing like a bird.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But that is amazing, and here's what I want to jump on.
And for the record, I will say that it is horrifying and violent and terrible.
Wonderful.
And what happens to the feet. Yes.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm talking about it.
Perfect.
It captivated me and it scared me, and it truly shocked me to like the idea of like anybody doing violence to a female that is suddenly taken by surprise. That
bad.
is the capital crime.
Right. It's
That's
bad
awful.
news. And
to see it presented in that way is definitely like, okay, this entire thing is a package. There's one piece of bad porn in here, not the good kind of porn.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like this is something that you would pay. It's like we went to see Pieces and we almost walked out after this one scene. And there's something that you were talking about earlier that stuck out about that scene. What were you saying?
Right. So the waterbed kill is I think the only knife scene kill in the movie. Everything else is either chainsaw or axe, I think. But
it's brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal. And the thing is, the only thing that took me out of the brutality on this watching was I noticed that because we had such a pristine quality copy, I could see the knife actually bending at one quick clip on the back of her head, like it was a plastic knife. Yeah. It was bending. And then that's right before you see it come out of her mouth. But it's still brutal as shit. Like when she's getting stabbed on the bed, that's the most upsetting part because it's like she's alive, she's struggling. It's just
rough to watch.
And the thing is, there's horror movies that do that. And especially back in the 70s and 80s that get pretty brutal. And there's sometimes rape and stuff. And it's terrible. And I don't enjoy that. But what I do enjoy is the fact that it just, all of a sudden you're watching this weird, terrible movie. And then it kind of scares you. Like you're like, this is upsetting. When, for me, you said that waterbed scene affected you. Dude, for me, and that was drawn out, but for me, seeing that chainsaw go through what you thought was the middle of that woman's torso in the shower, that to me, when I first saw that, I was like, that's fucking upsetting. Yeah. And anyways, so Pieces is, to summarize, honestly, it's an exercise in special effects and bad acting, but good lighting and good. I think the blood splatter, the paint look to it, makes it fun. The bad acting makes it fun, you know. And there's some nudity for everybody. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Pieces. The second. Not favorite, because I've got too many more. But the second...
So can I ask, why did we watch Pieces back to back with Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Okay. Because we want you folks out there to join us, and especially if you've never seen these movies, then please, just check them out, because I think you'd have a good time.
We'll provide links for the movies if they want to watch them.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And I think when I look back on my past, Pieces... I saw that poster, a 9-year-old boy in a movie theater seeing that poster, and it was just in the theater for like 2 years. Wow. And I'm like, what?
I bet they made a lot of money that
movie?
Way.
It made a ton of money.
Wow.
Anyways, and then Texas Chainsaw 2 was something that when VHS stores blew up, it was the first thing you rented.
Wow.
You know, it was just like, oh, this is Texas Chainsaw 2? Like, okay.
We're going to do that.
After 10 years, the buzz is back. Are you kidding me? Bought a ticket, sold, close the deal. You don't even have to keep talking. I'm buying the movie.
I like the throwback to the previous episode, actually. That's good. I mean, anytime you want to do that, I think that's healthy. So
don't you dare.
No, I'm being serious.
No, but we hope everybody that's listening to us and hanging in there is having as much fun as we are. Fucking happy October, and God bless you, and we're about to kick it into overdrive. We got a lot of things coming for you, so stay tuned.